Sharonetta McIntyre, and I serve as Business Development and Marketing Manager with the Hub Office. And so thank you to each of you for joining our monthly Minority Business Development Agency Partners Collaboration Training. And today's webinar is focused on the North Carolina Clean Energy Workforce Alliance. So we're going to hear about their summer apprenticeship program. We certainly know that there's a continued need for workforce development in the area of small businesses and what businesses in general need in order to continue to grow and be successful. Before we welcome our presenter for today, let's receive a welcome from a couple of our key leaders from the Department of Administration and the Department of Transportation. These folks are instrumental in helping to ensure that Hub and DBE firms are knowledgeable of opportunities that are out there to help support and grow your business. And so we will get started with Alicia Lyon, who is the Interim Director for the Office for Historically Underutilized Businesses. Alicia, have you joined? I'm sorry, I can't see the screen. Maybe she has, there she is. I know you were coming from another webinar, so thank you so much, Alicia, for being here. We also have Lisa Wilson, who is with us, and Lisa is from the Department of Transportation, and she's filling in lieu of Tanya Smith, who's the Director of the Department of Transportation Office for Civil Rights. Lisa's the Program Manager in the Business Opportunity and Workforce Development Program with the Office of Civil Rights. So Lisa, the floor is yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be with you today. Just wanted to welcome you to the webinar and let you know that we as a transportation agency are very interested in the next generation of clean energy talent. As you may know, Governor Cooper signed Executive Order 246 in January of 22, which called the North Carolina's transformation to a clean, equitable economy. And as part of that executive order, the Department of Transportation was tasked with developing a clean transportation plan. And so we have done that. And part of that plan is to help get some electric vehicle charging stations along the highways. And we can talk about that more later, but just to know that we are very interested because this is the wave of the future. This is where we are going, and we need talent to be able to help us to make sure that we have the workforce to not only develop this technology, but to keep it maintained and operable in the future. So welcome again, and look forward to hearing the presentation. And if you have any questions about Department of Transportation, feel free. I'll put my email in the chat box for you to contact me if you have any further questions. And enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Lisa. We appreciate you being here and for all your support. And so we'll come back to Alicia.
I am so excited to have you all to come together for this opportunity. And the NBDA program is an amazing program with amazing talented folks that pulled all this together with each of you in mind. So today, I am Alicia Lyon, Interim Director, and I have the pleasure of being a part of this great team and all that we bring together for you all. It's a time for education. It's a time for networking. So without further ado, I thank the NBDA team, Catherine Lucas, Angela Sellers, Shay McIntyre that bring this together, and there are more sessions to come. So I encourage you all to stay tuned for great sessions after this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alicia. We appreciate you being here. And now to introduce our speaker, Caroline Sullivan has 30 years of experience in leadership in local, state, and federal government and nonprofit management. She currently serves as the Executive Director of the North Carolina Business Committee for Education, the business-led education and workforce nonprofit in Governor Cooper's office. This position affords her the opportunity to work with the Office of the Governor, North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and the community college system, as well as Department of Commerce and business leaders to develop cross-agency strategies and programs to support the education and workforce systems in the state. Through this work, she has focused on work-based learning, educator professional development, educational attainment, credential attainment, youth apprenticeships, autism hiring programs, and closing the digital divide in the K through 12 student population. She currently serves on a number of statewide education and workforce advisory boards and committees. Prior to this appointment, she was elected to a 4-year term on the Wake County Board of Commissioners. She was elected by her fellow commissioners as vice chair of the board, as well as chair of the Budget, Audit and Finance Committee, and co-chair of the Education Committee. Before moving to Caroline, she worked for almost a decade in Washington, holding positions on Capitol Hill, in trade associations, and in political and advocacy organizations. She has been active in her community, serving on a number of boards, including Duke Center for Autism and Brain Development, Passage Home Board, the Triangle Family Services Board, Wake County Smart Start Board, Post Center for Health Education Board, Wake Ed Partnership Alliance, Behavioral Healthcare Board, Wake County Commission for Women, the Wake County Task Force for the Women's Employment Issues, and a number of places where she has served as chair. She was born and raised in Charlotte, graduated with honors from UNC Chapel Hill, married to Richard Sullivan, and they have 2 children who graduated from Wake County Public Schools and are now in college. And so with that, as a background for this very education person that we have with us, welcome, please, Caroline Sullivan.
Okay, that just makes me sound old, but thank you for the introduction. It both makes me sound old and makes me sound like I can never say no, which are both actually true things. So glad to be with you here, and y'all, the whole hub office has just been great. This is really exciting. We've had a couple of calls with the leadership to talk about how we can align efforts both through the Steps for Growth initiative, and I'm glad that Lisa was here to touch on the work that the DOT is doing with the electric charging station work. DOT is a fantastic partner, and they have cooked up some great apprenticeships for road construction. So any of y'all that are in the road construction space, stay tuned to learn about some fantastic programs that DOT is launching on that. Again, I'm Caroline, go ahead and advance the slide. North Carolina Business Committee for Education. We've been around for 40 years. This is our 40th year anniversary. We're the only group like this in the country. Jim Hunt established us to sort of bridge that gap between the educational systems and the workforce systems. And so we are a business-led education nonprofit. Go ahead and advance the slides. Steps for Growth. I see that we've got 2 of our project leaders from A&T, the program leaders from A&T on the call. So I will have Drs. Gokaraju and Monty. Y'all want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Hey everyone. Good to see a lot of department administration and transportation colleagues here. Myself, Dr. Balu Gokaraju, I'm an associate professor and associate director for College of Engineering at North Carolina A&T State University. Currently, I'm leading as a lead PI for Steps for Growth initiative, comprehensive clean energy workforce development project for the state. I am joined here by my another lead co-PI, Dr. Monty.
Yeah, I'm here to support Balu. I put about 90% of my week is in support of Steps for Growth.
And we always give a lot of credit to Caroline. She, with all her humility, she wouldn't take that much, but she set us up with the success of Steps for Growth from her office with a lot of efforts. We started 3 years ago with small pilot projects that was sponsored by NCDQ, and in 3 years we are here with the success of this large project. Caroline, back to you. Thank you.
Great. Yes, Balu and Greg are fantastic, and this is incredibly exciting as you know, y'all know the governor has signed a couple of executive orders to sort of support North Carolina transforming into a clean energy economy. We've had some fantastic announcements, job announcements, you know, Toyota Battery and Wolfspeed, and who are making the semiconductor chips for electric vehicles, and VinFast, and they just keep coming. So what we're doing in Steps for Growth is trying to get ready to make sure that these employers have the people that they need to fill these jobs, because we can't get to this clean energy economy. We cannot get to the climate change goals unless we have people to support the work to move forward. So we have developed a multi-system comprehensive workforce plan. And the cool thing about Steps for Growth is it is allowing us to create the workforce system that we want, not necessarily try to change the workforce system that we have, because a lot of these sectors are brand new. As Baloo touched on, we're sort of dividing this work up into 4 verticals, 4 buckets of what we're going to be focusing on in clean energy. The first is energy efficiency, and I think most of the businesses here would be in this bucket. This is everything that saves energy. So think of insulation, performance contracting, HVAC, signals, facilities management. All of the things are going into that sort of bucket, that vertical, right? We also are focusing on renewable energy, and in our case, this is solar and offshore wind and bioenergy. Clean vehicles is, think of the manufacturing pieces, as I mentioned, to Toyota and Wolfspeed, but then also we've got for any of EV maintenance technician, for example, people who need to be fixing the cars, the great spike in EVs that are getting on the road now, as well as the charging station that DOT is working on. DOT, through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, gave money to states to put fast charging stations all along the interstate. So this is going to happen fast. So this is how, you know, you can drive your EV long distances, because you're going to have some assurance that there are charging stations along the interstate. As part of that law, there is an apprenticeship provision, right? So the companies and the subcontractors that are putting in those charging stations are going to need to have registered apprenticeship by the law. Steps for Growth is working with DOT and our partners to develop those apprenticeships, as well as some that come through the Inflation Reduction Act, which I'll get to in a second. So as I said, this is a sector strategy model. Employers are in the front of this. We want to know what employers want and need, and how they can be supported to expand and develop their talent. Oh, and I forgot about grid resiliency. That's the last one. Think about it. That's just how the electricity is going to move, as well as things like cybersecurity of the grid and some of the advanced storage when we get to hydrogen batteries, things like that. Next one.
And so just a quick note here. I know that some of this information can be quite a bit to unpack. And so the focus for today is certainly on the apprenticeship program. And then we'll have another session in May, I think it's the 16th, where we'll be able to provide another level of information. And so there will be more opportunity to continue to hear more about these efforts for the business owners. So thank you so much. I am going to turn off my camera as well, but I am here and we'll be monitoring the chat for you.
Yes, thank you. And so many opportunities for small businesses, so many opportunities for hub businesses. This is just a really great time. So as part of Steps for Growth, I mentioned it was a sector strategy model, asking employers what they need. Any employers that are on the call or employers that the Hub Office works with that y'all think might be interested, please connect us if they're interested in the curriculum development piece. You know, are there credentials or classes that you feel that you need future employees to be able to either credentials to have or any sorts of curriculum they need to know please reach out and we would love to get your input on that. We're also creating an ecosystem starting at K-12 because, as everybody knows, your workforce is right now in school, right? They get out of school pretty fast. So we got to get to them to tell them about the great opportunities in your businesses and to create opportunities for long-term hiring. Go ahead and advance the slide. So right now, we're in the beginning. It's a 4-year program. We are focusing right now on the summer, and that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about. I mentioned before with the IIJA that has an apprenticeship provision to the law, right? Think of it as the Fed with the stick. You have to hire apprentices. The Inflation Reduction Act is more of a carrot. If you want to take advantage of the tax credits, you need to hire apprentices. So we're designing sort of these cohorts starting in the summer, and then this work will continue. Go ahead and advance the slide. For employers, there are a lot of benefits to working with us in this program and developing apprentices. So the first benefit is, you know, there are costs to offset the summer apprentices, which I'll get to in a second. Number 2 is if you start with a pre-apprentice, starting with somebody right out of high school or in high school, you really are growing your talent, right? You are getting students when they're young, when you can help teach them like you want them to be taught, the things that you need them to know and grow your talent. There is a great opportunity here to build your brand, your company, your logo, help students and teachers and parents know about your companies. And then there's some significant funding involved with this. Go ahead and advance. So I don't know if this slide's going to work, but why don't you press it and see? I got this from Apprenticeship NC. This just basically gives you an overview of apprenticeship in general. Everything starts with employers, right? Employer focus. I don't know whether you have to hit it again for the, oh, there it is. And there are 3 components of an apprenticeship. They're structured on the job training. So for example, let's say you're an electrical company and you need 2 or 3 classes before somebody can be an electrician's assistant. You would share that. If you are in manufacturing, are there certain levels? Do you need OSHA 30? What are the things that you need for folks to be able to know how to do? Then you also have job-related instruction, you know, classroom. So you got the classroom instruction, you've got the on-the-job structured training, and then you've got a progressive wage, right? So you've got basically the book learning, the hands-on training, and as that apprentice grows in skills and credentials and learning, they're going to make more money. It's basically sort of compressing what you do already when you hire early career employees. You know, as people get more education and skills, they're going to get paid more. Go ahead and advance. And what happens at the end of the apprenticeship program? And again, apprenticeship programs, you write them for what you need. So they vary, right? They're going to vary in how long they last. But you get apprentices get 2 things at the end of this. They get a national credential from the Department of Labor, as well as a credential from the community college system from the state. So these are things that mean something, right? So it means something to you as an employer. If you find somebody who has this credential, you'll know what kind of training they had. And this is a great benefit for the participant. Go ahead and advance. So the summer program that I was referencing to, we're going to start that program in high school or right after high school. Why? There are many benefits. We call these youth apprenticeships, right? Because they start when kids are in high school or right after. Why is that a big deal? A couple of things. Number 1, you're getting students while they're still in school. We hear from a lot of employers, they'll say like, kids today don't know about great opportunities in my sector, especially a lot of this we hear from the skilled trades. You get them when they're early. A lot of these kids are taking things like in CTE classes. that are your basic classes for skilled trades. Get them while they're there, show them your opportunity, right? That makes sense. The second piece is these students can be learning in school and doing paid work-based learning, and they can you can grow them as you want them. There are also some really significant benefits to the student when they start in high school. The main one being, if a student participates in a pre-apprenticeship in high school, then the state of North Carolina will pay for all of their aligned curriculum, all the way to an associate's degree. Right? You as an employer don't pay for the students to get their education, the state does. So it's a great thing for students who want to get out of higher ed with no debt while working in the sector that they're training for. There are just a lot of benefits for students. So these programs are also very flexible as well. Go ahead and advance the slide. So I mentioned before, there are a lot of opportunities in apprenticeship. Number one is that youth apprenticeship waiver that I mentioned before. That is a big deal for students and families and employers. The second one is the Department of Labor has awarded some grants to Apprenticeship NC, which is our community college lead in the state of North Carolina, for older participants, people who are out of school. There's some assistance for their education. And there are also some incentives for things like transportation and supportive services. That's coming from the Fed. The General Assembly also appropriated more funding to Apprenticeship NC to support apprenticeships. These are limited to Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties right now. There probably will be some funding for all counties, including Tier 3 counties, but that's not done yet. What we've got right now for small businesses under 500 employees in Tier 1 or Tier 2 counties, it's got a youth focus, so your apprentices would need to be young, 16 to 25, and there are lots of different assistance. There's assistance to pay for part of the wages, to pay for mentors in your company, to just pay the company one flat fee to actually participate. Lots of stuff here. It's a really great time to hire an apprentice. Go ahead and advance the slide. I mentioned that the Infrastructure Act had apprenticeship provisions in it. The stick, right? You have to have 25% of your labor performed by a registered apprenticeship. And y'all, that goes for roads too. So any of y'all that are involved in road contracting, bridge contracting, these apprenticeship provisions hold for all of that. In the Inflation Reduction Act, it's the carrot, right? And so we've got a QR code if you want to sort of read the details from the lawyers on this, but basically it is same kind of thing. If you are building something within that law, or if you are participating as a subcontractor for someone who is going to be accessing funding through that law, in order to get all of the funding, you need to have registered apprentices. So again, lots of incentive to do this. Next slide. We're starting in the summer, and we are super excited because not only do we have all of this funding, we've got even more, because NCDEQ is going to help our employers hire pre-apprentices this summer. So if you are an HVAC contractor, if you have an electrical company, if you do facilities management, maintenance, you could qualify for this program. We have gotten the funding that we can pay for up to half of an hourly wage for the participant. That's up to $15 an hour, and it's during the summer. We don't have an unlimited amount of funds, but we really, really would love to have some of the hub businesses involved in this program. In addition to getting trained great young people to work for your companies in this summer. It's also, you know, we'd love for you to be a part of the larger initiative going forward as we expand all of this work to scale our clean energy workforce. Go ahead and advance the slide. So, you know, this is going to be a pre-apprentice, like I was talking about before. So the participants are going to need to participate in some kind of classroom type learning. We've got some options there. You know, it could be you want them to do OSHA 10 and a basic construction class. It could be you have a curriculum that you want them to learn. Some of the advanced manufacturing, you know, the A&T team is going to teach a CAD class for them. This is flexible and up to what you want or need. Think's a good idea. So, but you know, this is an apprenticeship is just basically, I'm going to do some classroom learning. I'm going to take what I learned and I'm going to do work-based learning while I'm getting paid, doing real work. And then that is going to help me be able to advance my career faster and stay with your company, hopefully. There's a lot of data that apprentices are more loyal to their employers because, you know, they're sort of growing up with them and they appreciate the opportunity. Go ahead and advance the slide.
Right, Caroline.
Yes.
Just a quick question there then for some of these options that the businesses would potentially have. So there's some courses that will be offered that they would be able to tap into along with, in some cases, maybe there's an outline or some kind of curriculum that's shared if they're going to develop something, or maybe they have some in-house resources but need some guidance in terms of what content and curriculum would look like. So those are the options that we're really talking here. Just want to confirm.
It is, this is tailored to the employer. We are developing these all as pre-apprenticeships because there's just so much funding involved with it. And, you know, there's some mandates too. So we're trying to help employers develop apprenticeship programs. North Carolina, we do not have a long history of apprenticeship programs. We don't. So we're finding a lot of employers, this is difficult for them. So we're trying to support them being able to develop an apprenticeship program they want. Now, there are a couple of ways you can develop these. We work closely with Apprenticeship NC. It might be a great idea for if y'all want to sort of dig down into this to invite them to come for a webinar. But there are two different ways employers can engage in apprenticeship. We can do statewide agreements. A&T is writing programs that employers can go underneath, right? So if you're like, this is a standard HVAC apprenticeship program, I don't want to build this thing by myself. These are the classes and this is how much work-based learning is in. I'm going to get under the A&T program. And that's great. Or it could be maybe you're a specialty. Maybe you do very specific work. We would help you, and Apprenticeship NC would help you design what you want, tailor-made to you. We can go either way.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I don't know if Greg or Baloo want to add anything to that.
I would just add that, yeah, we're building models specific to each vertical sector, that the 4 sectors that were introduced by Caroline, and that we're going to develop specific courses, and we're doing this in concert with the community colleges across the state. So we're trying to tap into what's already available, like electronics courses, mechanical courses, and so on and so forth, even safety, OSHA 10, 30 courses. And then we will we'll find the gaps in that education. For instance, like we've talked to people in the solar business, they want to know if we can train people or do some kind of an assessment about whether a person can stand up on a 45-degree roof without falling off. You know, that kind of thing. They're interested in finding the people that are willing to go up on a roof, you know. So we'll come up with courses, whatever is necessary to help support the industry. it's very flexible.
And remember also, apprenticeship is also useful for, say a company has, say it's an HVAC company and you've got people that are just in that helper level, right? And they like to get some more education, but there are a lot of barriers. They can become a registered apprenticeship. They can become a registered apprentice, continue their education at the community college and continue working. So it's a way to think of this as a way to get people in to your company, but also to help move your people up. And there are many reasons why I love my A&T partners, but one of them is A&T really believes in helping people move up in their careers. And so we're developing these pyramid models that show how somebody can start by just taking 1 or 2 classes and continue to grow in their education all the way up to bachelor's degrees at North Carolina A&T University, which is it is a great thing to show young people, especially, you can start here and go all the way up here. It's a great message for their for them and their parents. So, all right.
Thanks. That's very
Does that make
helpful.
sense? All right, next one. So from y'all, a lot of employers want to know who gets recruited. So this summer, they will be people either right outside of high school or rising seniors in high school. But for the general program going forward, we're looking for all kinds of employees for y'all. So, there's going to be, as I said, different levels. We're also working with veterans and we're going to start working with the Division of Public Safety and Adult Corrections on what can we do for our justice involved folks. So we really are sort of building this out. Go ahead, next one. So before I move on to I'm just going to touch on the navigator because employers need to tell their story. Do we want to stop here and see if anybody has any questions about Steps for Growth summer programs and our apprenticeships?
Okay. We've not had any questions in the chat at this point. However, are there any folks on the line that would like to open up a question? I see a hand. Who is that? Up to Date Construction Group.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity as well. My question to you is: we also own a low voltage telecommunication company besides the construction company we just opened last year. But this company, Up to Date Technology, has been in the market for around 12 years now. And we would like to be a participant of the apprenticeship program. We would like to offer or participate in the apprenticeship. How can we do that?
You just need to, they will share my email and just send me an email and we'll get a meeting and get you started.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
That's great. See, everybody wants to do this now. Y'all think about how you can, because it's going to be great. It's going to change your business and change your life. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else want to sign up?
Right. Any other questions?
It's an altar call, y'all. All right. So, another way that everybody needs to start thinking, right, is how do you get people to know about careers in construction or in skilled trades or pretty much any careers? You know what you got to do? You got to tell them. So in 2018, the governor launched our Work-Based Learning Navigator. We're the only state that has this. It is basically the platform where employers can reach out and interact with teachers and students. We make it easy. It is offered at no cost to employers or to schools. It is great, and you totally need to be involved. All right. So we developed it. I always have to give credit. Fidelity Investments went on the journey with us for our original development, but boy, we've updated it twice since then, and it is great. Next slide. So what is the Navigator? Let's say you're a construction company, right? We let you do two different things. We call one of the things we do engagement. So that's, I'll speak at a career fair. Go ahead and advance the slide. This is what engagement resources look like. Go ahead and advance the slide. Here's an example of somebody who says they'll go to a career fair. It's Superior Cranes, right? So they can come and talk to a career fair for teachers. Here's what happens, y'all. Career development coordinators in schools are busy and they only know so many people. And they want to offer opportunities to all of their students, but they don't know y'all. So you go on the Navigator, you say, I'll come to your career fair. We also sometimes just have teachers who say, I'm doing a career fair. I would like, construction companies in this area. And then we'll just push out to companies on the Navigator. So, there's so many opportunities for you to let students know about what you do. Next slide. So you can do career fairs. We also have in the engagement resources, it's career fairs, it's internships, it's day in the life, it's job site tours, right? It's field trips, it's content experts. So all the things that involve sort of human to human sort of interaction, right? Because nothing changes a kid's mind like either seeing something or hearing from someone who is in the field. The other thing, y'all, students need to see people who look like them. And so think about too, in things like construction, they need to see females represented because you can't be what you can't see. So we also encourage that as well. The other thing we do for the Navigator is information resources. So this is, do you have any videos? Do you have any curriculum? Any sort of things like that, games, things like that. We put those on the Navigator. Go ahead and advance the slide. Great way to put your logo on so every single teacher in North Carolina sees your logo. And that's just what a video looks like. You can go ahead and advance. The Navigator, you can go ahead and change the slide. The Navigator is super easy and we will help you every step of the way. I'm not going to play the video, but it is really good and you should totally watch it. Michelle Sanders, our Secretary of Commerce, is on this video talking about how critical it is for employers to tell their story, right? This generation of kids, they are brand conscious. They understand brand and they understand story. Right. And if you're not telling your story, they're only going to hear from the tech companies that are telling theirs. So the Navigator makes it easy for you to tell your story. Go ahead. When they share the deck, please watch that. I also have a video here. It just tells you how to get on the Navigator and how to create a resource. It's very easy. Go ahead and advance the slide. But we will do anything it takes to get y'all on the Navigator. I am the used car salesman of work-based learning. And I think it's critically important, not for our students, just for our students and our teachers, but for y'all. So whatever you need, I will do. And that's who I am.
Thank you all for joining us on today. Let's go ahead and see if there are any other questions that anyone has at this point so that we can ensure we get the maximum benefit out of the session. Any other questions?
Hello, this is Natia Ridges. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Natia.
Thanks for the presentation. There's definitely a need for apprenticeship type programs. How you're going to share the slides after the program? Because I do have some specific questions. I am in transportation. I'm a service disabled veteran. I have some certifications, and I'm trying to seek work for people who look like me in the industry. There's not many people that look like us. So thanks for the information, and again, look forward to the opportunity.
Yeah, and Natia, you can shoot me an email, and if you want to do a meeting, and I can bring in you know, some of our partners and see what we can do to help out, or we can just do a short call and we can talk about what you need, and then I can hook you up with the right people. But you're right. No, I mean, these are great opportunities. People just need to know about them, and we really are here to help you be able to take advantage of them.
Thank you so much for your time, for everybody's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Natia. All right. Any other questions? All right. We're starting to get what we ask also is that for the business owners that are on, please go ahead and put your information into the chat also. Since we have a fairly small group here, we just want to be able to have some conversations also so that we understand where the opportunities may be for us to provide support in the process of helping you through this as well. Any other questions before we wrap it up here? Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, Caroline. Thank you. Let me get the name right. Balakrishna. Am I pronouncing? Give me the pronunciation so I don't. Okay. All right. And also Greg, thank you all so much for being with us today. Thanks to the Department of Transportation. Thanks to all of our MBDA team and also to our hub team for being with us on today. We appreciate your time and want to continue to assist you as you move forward in the process.